Samantha Wright pulled her forest ranger truck to a stop and stepped out into the crisp Montana air. The strange glow from deep in the woods had caught her attention during her night patrol. Something about it felt wrong. She grabbed her flashlight and hiking pack, then headed into the dense trees. The light grew stronger as she walked nearly 20 minutes into the wilderness. No campfires were allowed in this part of the forest, so whoever was out here was breaking the rules. What Samantha found was not a campfire at all. A massive object about the size of a small car had crashed through the trees, leaving a long trail of broken branches and disturbed earth. The object glowed with a faint blue light and made a soft humming sound that made her skin tingle. Samantha approached carefully. Her first thought was that it might be a satellite or some piece of space junk, but as she got closer, she knew this was something else entirely. The surface was smooth like polished metal, but with strange patterns that seemed to shift when she looked at them directly. She reached out one hand to touch it, then pulled back at the last second. Something told her that would be a bad idea. Instead, she took photos with her phone and called her supervisor. Nobody from the government arrived for 6 hours. By then, Samantha had secured the area with warning tape and kept hikers away. The men who finally showed up wore plain black suits and said very little. They asked Samantha to leave and forget what she saw, but Samantha had already sent the photos to her friend Olivia Martinez, a scientist who worked for NASA in Houston. Olivia stared at the photos on her computer screen and felt a chill run down her spine. For weeks, she had been tracking strange objects entering our solar system, objects that moved in ways that defied physics. The other scientist had dismissed her data as equipment errors, but now she had proof. She printed the photos and took them to her supervisor, who also dismissed her concerns. Then 3 more objects fell to Earth in different locations: Russia, Australia, and Brazil. The governments kept it quiet, but Olivia had contacts who shared information. When she presented this new evidence, her supervisor finally listened. He arranged a meeting with military officials. Among them was Air Force Colonel Catherine Blackwood. Catherine believed Olivia right away. She had seen something strange during a training flight near the edge of the atmosphere, a shape that appeared for just a moment before vanishing, something that should not have been there. The 3 women began working together, Catherine using her military connections to gather information, Samantha tracking new crash sites in North America, and Olivia analyzing the data. They discovered that the objects contained advanced surveillance technology designed to map Earth defenses, study our weapons, and evaluate our resources. Then everything changed. Massive ships appeared in orbit around Earth. They were enormous, structures that dwarfed anything humans had ever built. The world watched in fear as the ships positioned themselves above major cities. A message came from the ships, broadcast on all frequencies in perfect English. "We are the Vraxians travelers, seeking refuge. Our world is dying, and we ask for your help and hospitality. We come in peace with knowledge to share world leaders." Cautiously welcomed the aliens. Representatives from the ships landed in capital cities. They were tall, human-like beings, with pale skin and large eyes. They spoke of friendship and exchange of technology. They promised medical advances and clean energy. Most people welcomed them with hope and excitement. Samantha Wright did not trust them. She had found something in the wreckage of the first crashed object, a data storage device. Olivia had managed to access some of its contents. It contained information about Earth gathered months before the Vraxians' arrival, plans for weapons, evaluations of Earth military strengths and weaknesses, maps of resource deposits. Catherine arranged a meeting with top military officials to present their evidence, but few believed them. The Vraxians had already begun sharing medical technology that cured several diseases. Their popularity grew daily. Anyone who spoke against them was labeled as paranoid. Olivia continued studying the Vraxian technology secretly. Samantha gathered more evidence from crash sites, and Catherine prepared her fighter squadron for what she believed was coming. Then, one night, all communication satellites went dark. Television and internet stopped. Global communications collapsed. The Vraxian ships above the cities suddenly changed. Their smooth hulls opened, revealing massive weapon ports. Smaller ships poured. Out by the thousands heading toward military bases, power plants, and government buildings, the invasion had begun. Catherine rushed to her fighter jet as the base sirens blared. Her squadron took to the air to defend against the alien craft. But they were hopelessly outmatched. The alien weapons cut through their planes like paper. Their shields absorbed missile strikes without damage. Samantha watched from the forest as alien ships descended on nearby towns. People ran in terror as strange beams swept through the streets. Those touched by the light simply vanished. Olivia barricaded herself in her laboratory at NASA's alien forces overran the facility. She downloaded all her research on the Viraxians to a portable drive, then escaped through maintenance tunnels. As night fell, the three women and others who believed their warnings regrouped at a prearranged location, deep in the Montana wilderness. They watched distant cities burn. They listened to emergency broadcasts that gradually went silent. The Viraxians controlled Earth orbit. They had neutralized most military resistance in hours. Their ships now landed in cities unloading troops and equipment. The war for Earth had begun, and humanity was losing. Samantha looked at the small group of survivors and spoke quietly. We need to understand them, find their weakness. Everyone has a weakness. Catherine nodded grimly. First we survive, then we fight back. Olivia held up the data drive. I have their technology, their language, their biology. We can find a way. As dawn broke over the mountains, the small group of humans began planning how to save their world from an enemy that came from the stars. 3 weeks passed since the Viraxians revealed their true intentions. The alien forces established control centers in major cities across the globe. Their tall ships stood like dark monuments to human defeat, casting long shadows over the ruins. Below, Catherine Blackwood watched through binoculars from a hillside overlooking what was once Seattle. The city now served as a regional command center for the Viraxian forces. Strange structures grew from the downtown area, reaching toward the sky. Like metallic vines, alien ships moved constantly between these towers and the massive mothership still hanging in orbit. We need to get closer, she whispered to the small team beside her. We need to understand what they are building. Beside her, Reeves nodded. Allison had been a cybersecurity specialist before the invasion. Now she used those skills to help the resistance. She adjusted her homemade scanning device, built partly from salvaged Viraxian technology. Their signal patterns changed. Again, she said. They learn fast, adapting to our attempts to listen in. But I caught something. They keep referring to harvesting operations. The word harvesting sent chills down Catherine's spine. She had seen the collection ships taking humans from captured cities. Thousands loaded onto transports and never seen again. The small team made their way down toward the city edges, moving only at night, staying under tree cover when possible. They established a hidden observation post in an abandoned building at the edge of the city. From there, Allison worked on intercepting Viraxian communications, while Catherine planned reconnaissance missions. They needed information desperately. The scattered human resistance fought bravely across the globe, but without coordination or understanding of the enemy. They were just delaying the inevitable. Meanwhile, Samantha Wright led evacuations through the wilderness pathways. She knew the forests and mountains better than anyone, guiding refugees to hidden camps established in remote valleys. Her knowledge of living off the land proved invaluable as food supplies dwindled. Samantha developed a network of scouts, mostly forest rangers and hunters, who could move undetected through natural areas. They created a communication system using runners between camps, since electronic communications could be traced by the aliens. During one evacuation mission, Samantha discovered something important. A Viraxian scout separated from its unit seemed to struggle. In the dense forest, its breathing apparatus made strange noises, and its movements became erratic before it collapsed. Something about Earth was affecting it. She cautiously approached the fallen alien and took samples of the strange fluid leaking from its breathing mask. Then she hurried back to one of the hidden camps where Olivia Martinez had established a research lab in an old mountain bunker. Olivia examined the samples under a microscope. Her eyes widened with excitement. They filter everything, she explained to Samantha. Their bodies can't handle our atmosphere. Not directly. Something in our air affects them. They need those masks and suits. This was the first weakness they had found. Samantha immediately sent runners to share this information with resistance cells across the region. At the same time, Olivia made another breakthrough, analyzing the technology from the initial scout ships. The Vraxians' neural network operated on specific frequencies that meant they could potentially be disrupted. Dr. Martinez worked day and night, developing a device that could interfere with Vraxian communications. Her makeshift laboratory filled with salvaged equipment and parts scavenged from abandoned towns. Volunteers brought her anything that might be useful. 2 months into the occupation, Catherine's reconnaissance team made a devastating discovery. They observed humans being processed in a facility near Seattle. The aliens weren't just taking prisoners, they were experimenting on them. Catherine watched through a stolen Vraxian optical device as humans were sorted into groups. Some were loaded onto ships bound for orbit. Others were taken into facilities where Vraxian scientists conducted tests. The rest were herded into massive harvesting machines. They are taking our water minerals and biological material, she reported back to the resistance base. They see us as resources, nothing more. This information galvanized the resistance. Raids on smaller Vraxian outposts increased. Small victories gave people hope, but the aliens' technology remained superior. Their energy weapons and shields made direct confrontation nearly impossible. Then Olivia completed her disruption device. It creates an electromagnetic pulse tuned to their neural frequency, she explained to the resistance leaders. It should temporarily disable their technology, but the range is limited. We would need to get close. Catherine immediately saw the potential. This could give them a fighting chance. For the first time, they could neutralize the aliens' advantage. She developed a plan to test the device on a small Vraxian research outpost near the mountains. A strike team would deploy Olivia's device, then gather intelligence and rescue any human prisoners. Samantha insisted on joining the mission. Her knowledge of the terrain would be crucial. Catherine agreed, but reluctantly. She needed every skilled fighter she could get. But Samantha had become a symbol of hope to many refugees. The mission was set for the following night. The team moved silently through the forest surrounding the Vraxian outpost. 20 fighters armed with whatever weapons they could salvage, plus Olivia's device carried carefully in a reinforced case. When they reached position, Catherine gave the signal. Olivia activated the device. The effect was immediate. The Vraxians' communication systems went dark. The lights in their facility flickered, then died. Alien guards stumbled confused without connection to their network. The resistance fighters stormed the facility. Catherine's military training proved invaluable as she led the assault. They encountered less resistance than expected. The Vraxians were disoriented without their neural link. Many simply collapsed. Inside, they discovered dozens of human prisoners. Among them was Dr. Vanessa Thorne, a quantum physicist who had been studying alien propulsion systems before her capture. The team freed the prisoners, gathered all the alien technology they could carry, then planted explosives. Samantha led them safely back through the forest as the facility erupted in flames behind them. The mission was a success, but it revealed something troubling. The Vraxians were not just taking Earth resources. They were studying humans, learning our weaknesses, preparing for complete domination. Back at the resistance base, Dr. Thorne shared what she had learned while captive. The Vraxians' homeworld was dying. Resources depleted, overpopulation, food shortages. Earth was not their first conquest. They had stripped dozens of worlds, moving like locusts through the galaxy, but she also offered hope. Their faster-than-light technology, the system that allowed their massive ships to travel between stars, had a unique property. It created a quantum link between each ship and their homeworld. This information sparked an idea in Olivia's mind, a way to strike back at the heart of the invasion. A desperate plan began to form as another dawn broke over the occupied Earth. The resistance leaders gathered to discuss this new possibility. For the first time since the invasion began, they dared to hope, not just for survival, but for victory. 6 months into the Vraxian occupation, Earth had changed beyond recognition. Major cities functioned as processing centers where alien machinery extracted minerals from the ground and water from lakes and oceans. Massive harvesters moved across farmlands collecting biological samples and human captives. The resistance grew stronger, organized into cells that communicated through Samantha's network of runners. Underground bunkers and mountain hideaways housed thousands of survivors' raids. On Vraxian outposts became more frequent and more successful. As Olivia's disruption technology improved, Catherine Blackwood now commanded the largest resistance force in North America. Her military experience proved invaluable in training civilians to fight the alien invaders. Under her leadership, they had destroyed 12 Vraxian outposts and freed hundreds of captives. Yet despite these successes, humanity remained vastly outmatched. The Vraxians controlled orbit, preventing any attempt to use satellites or spacecraft. Their massive motherships continued to arrive, bringing more troops and harvesting equipment. Every day, Earth grew weaker, in a hidden laboratory beneath the ruins of Chicago. Olivia Martinez and Vanessa Thorne worked tirelessly to understand Vraxian technology. They had collected enough alien equipment to begin reverse engineering their systems. Olivia studied a captured alien communication device, while Vanessa examined their power source. Both women worked until exhaustion forced them to rest, then resumed again after brief sleep one night while testing frequency patterns. Olivia made a breakthrough. "I found something," she told Vanessa excitedly. "Their neural network has a harmonic resonance pattern I can create. A cascading disruption that would affect all linked systems, not just nearby ones." Vanessa looked up from her work. This could disable their command structure, temporarily at least. How long would the effect last? Not long, Olivia admitted. Maybe minutes. But if coordinated with simultaneous attacks across multiple locations, enough time to cause significant damage, Vanessa finished the thought. And if combined with what I've learned about their quantum drive, they worked through the night refining their theories before dawn, they sent for Catherine. Catherine's forces had recently discovered another critical weakness in the alien invaders. They were susceptible to certain Earth bacteria, common microbes that humans encountered daily, caused severe reactions in Vraxian biology. Their sterile homeworld left them with no natural immunity to Earth environments. Catherine arrived at the underground lab 2 days later, accompanied by Samantha Wright, who had brought samples from different environments. The team gathered around a makeshift conference table, maps and diagrams spread before them. Olivia explained her discovery, first showing how a properly tuned electromagnetic pulse could disrupt all Vraxian systems within a large area. Vanessa followed, with her analysis of their quantum drive. The Vraxians' faster-than-light technology creates a two-way connection with their homeworld, she explained. Every jump they make opens a quantum tunnel. That connection remains stable as long as the drive is active. Catherine leaned forward, stable enough to send something back through it. Theoretically, yes. Vanessa nodded. But we would need control of one of their ships. Not just access, full control, and we would need to know exactly how to target their homeworld. Samantha shared her findings next. Vraxians showed severe reactions to certain environments, particularly dense forests and swampy areas. Their environmental suits provided some protection, but not completely. The bacteria samples collected from these regions could potentially be weaponized. A plan began to form as they discussed possibilities. A coordinated attack using Olivia's disruption technology combined with Samantha's biological samples might allow them to capture a Vraxian ship intact. Then Vanessa's knowledge of their quantum drive could enable them to send something back to the alien homeworld. But what would they send? The question hung in the air until Allison Reeves, who had been monitoring Vraxian communications, spoke. "Up, they have terraforming technology," she said. "Their harvesting isn't just for resources. They reshape worlds to suit their biology. They make planets more like their homeworld before colonizing. I intercepted plans for deployment in what was once Africa. Could we use their own technology against them?" Samantha asked. Vanessa considered this. "We might be able to repurpose their terraforming device to target the specific mineral composition of their world, rather than reshaping a planet to match their needs. It could break down the elements they require for survival. A weapon that would destroy their planet, Catherine said quietly. The gravity of such an action settling over the room. It's us or them. Olivia replied simply, "They've shown no mercy. They would strip our world bare and leave us extinct." The team called the plan Operation Boomerang, a name suggested by Samantha. What goes around comes around, she explained. Implementing such a complex plan required global coordination. Catherine used Samantha's runner network to contact resistance cells worldwide. They would need simultaneous attacks on multiple Vraxian installations to prevent the aliens from concentrating their forces. For weeks they gathered intelligence. Allison intercepted Vraxian communications, learning patrol patterns and ship movements. Olivia improved her disruption device, increasing its range and effectiveness. Samantha collected bacterial samples from environments that most affected the aliens Vanessa studied. Captured Vraxian technology, learning how their ships operated. The resistance forces grew as word spread of a plan to defeat the invaders. Survivors emerged from hiding to join the fight. Former soldiers, police officers, and ordinary citizens trained, together preparing for what might be humanity's last stand. 3 months of preparation led to this moment. Catherine addressed the gathered fighters, their faces illuminated by firelight inside a mountain cave. "Tomorrow we strike at multiple locations," she told them. "Our primary objective is to capture a Vraxian transport ship intact. This requires precise timing and perfect execution. We have one chance to get this right. If we fail, humanity falls." Across the globe, resistance forces prepared for coordinated attacks. Olivia's disruption technology had been distributed to key groups. Each would activate their devices at exactly the same time, creating worldwide disruption of Vraxian communications. As dawn approached, Catherine led her strike team toward their target, a Vraxian landing zone near the former city of Denver. Each fighter carried specialized equipment. Olivia's disruption devices loaded with Samantha's bacterial samples and weapons salvaged from previous raids. Samantha moved with another team toward Seattle, where they would infiltrate the command center and plant modified bacteria in the environmental systems. Allison accompanied them, ready to hack into the Vraxian network and disable ship-to-ship communications. Olivia and Vanessa remained at the control center, coordinating the global effort. Their expertise would be needed once a ship was captured. The resistance fighters took their positions around the world, each group waiting for the signal. Catherine checked her watch one last time, then spoke into the radio for Earth. She said simply, "The signal went out. Operation Boomerang had begun." Across the world, resistance fighters activated Olivia's disruption devices simultaneously. The effect was immediate and dramatic. Vraxian technology faltered everywhere. Communications died. Defense systems went offline. Ships hovering above cities suddenly dropped several feet before emergency systems engaged. Catherine led her strike team toward the Vraxian landing zone near Denver. The aliens stumbled in confusion as their neural links failed. Some collapsed entirely, unable to function without the network connection. The human fighters moved swiftly through their ranks, targeting those still standing. The landing zone contained 3 Vraxian vessels, 2 small patrol craft and 1 medium transport ship. The transport was their target. A vessel, large enough to carry their payload, but small enough to be operated by a minimal crew. Catherine's team divided into 3 groups. One created a diversion attacking the far side of the compound. Another targeted the Vraxian command center, neutralizing the officers. The main strike team, with Catherine at the lead, moved toward the transport ship at the Seattle command center. Samantha's team encountered heavier resistance. The Vraxians there had backup systems insulating them somewhat from the disruption effect. The fighting was intense as the humans pushed toward the environmental control systems. Samantha led a small group through maintenance tunnels beneath the command center. They moved silently, eliminating alien guards they encountered. Finally, they reached the central air processing unit. "Prepare the samples," Samantha instructed. One of her team members opened a containment case revealing vials of concentrated bacteria collected from environments that most affected the Vraxians. They inserted the vials into the air system, then activated the emergency purge cycle. The bacteria would spread throughout the facility within minutes. Meanwhile, Allison had reached the communication hub. She connected her equipment to Vraxian technology and began the hacking sequence designed by Olivia. The alien computer systems resisted, but Allison had studied their code for months. She found the weakness she sought and exploited it. Ship to ship, communications went dark. Similar scenes played out at Vraxian. Installations worldwide, disruption devices activated, bacterial agents deployed, communications hacked. The coordinated attack created chaos among the alien forces. For the first time since the invasion began, the Vraxians were on the defensive back. At the Denver landing zone, Catherine fought her way to the transport ship entrance. The disruption effect would not last much longer. They needed to secure the vessel before Vraxian reinforcements arrived. Her team formed a defensive perimeter as she accessed the entry hatch using codes deciphered by Vanessa. The interior of the alien ship was strange organic curves mixed with metallic surfaces, pulsing lights along corridors. Everything designed for bodies taller and thinner than human forms. Catherine led her team through the ship, eliminating the minimal crew still on board, bridge secured. She reported through the radio. This was the signal Olivia and Vanessa had been waiting for. They immediately departed their control center, heading toward the captured vessel with the modified terraforming devices. Catherine secured the ship. The disruption effect began to fade. Vraxian systems came back online gradually. The aliens regrouped and launched counterattacks against resistance positions. Fighting intensified across the globe. Catherine ordered her team to prepare the ship for departure. They had trained on simulators built from captured Vraxian technology, but operating the real thing proved more challenging. Unfamiliar controls, alien, interface, everything designed for different physiology. The first counterattack came within hours. Vraxian fighters descended on the landing zone, firing energy weapons that scorched the earth. Catherine ordered defensive measures. The transport ships, shields activated just in time, deflecting the worst of the attack. But they needed time. Olivia and Vanessa had not yet arrived with the terraforming device. In Seattle, Samantha's bacterial agent spread through the command center. Vraxian soldiers began collapsing as their environmental suits failed to filter the concentrated microbes. The resistance fighters pressed their advantage, pushing deeper into the facility. Samantha led them toward the detention area where human prisoners were held. Allison continued her cyber attack on Vraxian communications, expanding access beyond the Seattle facility. She created a cascading failure that spread to orbiting ships. For precious minutes, the alien command structure fractured, giving resistance forces worldwide the advantage they needed. Olivia and Vanessa reached the Denver landing zone with their modified terraforming device, a complex machine built from Vraxian technology, but reprogrammed to target specific elemental compositions. Fighting surrounded the landing zone as Catherine held the perimeter, allowing the scientists to board with their cargo. Once inside the ship, Vanessa went directly to the quantum drive. She had studied this technology for months, understanding its principles, if not all its components. She began the complex process of initializing the drive and targeting the Vraxian homeworld. Outside, the situation deteriorated rapidly. The Vraxians recovered from the initial disruption and coordinated their counterattack. Reinforcements arrived from orbit. Alien ships surrounded the landing zone, focusing fire on the captured transport. Catherine knew they were running out of time. Launch sequence initiated, she ordered. The transport ship hummed as engines activated. Shields strained under enemy fire. Vanessa worked frantically at the quantum drive controls. The targeting sequence required precise calculations. Olivia connected their modified terraforming device to the ship's power systems. The weapon designed to unmake a world grew warm as it powered up. Their ship rose shakily from the ground. Vraxian energy weapons impacting the shields. Catherine piloted manually, compensating for damage. They needed altitude to activate the quantum jump below resistance. Fighters covered their retreat, sacrificing themselves to give the mission its chance of success. Catherine watched through the view screen as brave humans held their positions against overwhelming odds. 20,000 feet. The ship shuddered under. Constant attack, shield failure, imminent warning systems flashed in alien script. Vanessa translated urgently. 30,000 feet. Catherine's hands, steady on unfamiliar controls. The quantum drive hummed louder, building power for the jump. The modified, terraforming device fully integrated now with the ship systems. Vanessa looked up from her station. Jump coordinates, locked quantum tunnel forming. In that moment, A priority transmission came through on all frequencies. The Vraxian Supreme Commander appeared on their view screen. His message translated automatically. "You have lost the alien voice declared. I have activated final protocol. All major population centers targeted for sterilization. Your resistance dies today. Your planet will be harvested." Regardless of survivors, the Vraxian motherships in orbit repositioned energy weapons powering up aimed at Earth cities. The aliens would rather destroy Earth than lose access to its resources. Catherine exchanged looks with Olivia and Vanessa. No words needed. The mission had become even more urgent. "Quantum jump in 5 seconds, Vanessa announced. The ship shuddered one final time as Vraxian weapons found their mark. Then reality itself seemed to twist. The stars stretched into lines of light. The transport vessel vanished from Earth orbit. Operation Boomerang had entered its final phase. The quantum jump felt like being turned inside out and back again. Catherine gripped the control panel as reality distorted around them. The ship shuddered violently, then stabilized. Alarms blared in alien tones, warning of system damage. Then through the view screen they saw it, the Vraxian Homeworld, a massive planet shrouded in artificial structures, no natural surfaces visible, everything built, processed, manufactured, the entire world converted to industrial purpose. "We made it," Vanessa whispered, her voice filled with awe and horror at the sight before them. "Status report," Catherine demanded, checking systems. The jump had damaged their ship further. Shields operated at minimal capacity. Propulsion systems functioned, but navigation remained compromised. No immediate defensive response, Olivia noted, scanning the sensor readings. They never expected an attack here. Their defenses are focused outward towards space, not inward from the quantum tunnels. Catherine piloted the damaged ship closer to the planet. They needed optimal position to deploy the modified terraforming device. The plan called for low orbit release, then immediate quantum jump back to Earth. As they approached orbital distance, the first signs of Vraxian response appeared. Small patrol vessels moved to intercept, their weapons powered up. But they hesitated, clearly confused by the presence of one of their own ships in an unexpected location. Catherine opened a communication channel and transmitted data packets prepared by Allison standard Vraxian identification codes. The patrol vessels backed off momentarily, buying precious time. Vanessa worked at the quantum drive, attempting to recalibrate for the return jump. The system had sustained damage during transit calculations. That should have been automatic, now required manual processing. Olivia prepared the terraforming device for deployment. It had been modified to target specific molecular structures, those found predominantly in Vraxian technology and biology. It would essentially digest the fundamental elements they required for survival, turning stable compounds into unstable ones, ready for deployment. Olivia reported, "The device has locked onto the planetary composition. Deployment window optimal in 3 minutes. Catherine maneuvered the ship into position, keeping distance from the patrol vessels, which had begun to close again, their confusion giving way to suspicion. The Vraxian homeworld filled the view screen now, its surface a testament to ruthless efficiency, every resource extracted, every natural feature replaced with technology, a civilization that consumed everything, leaving nothing in its wake. Warning alarms activated. The patrol vessels had scanned their ship, detecting the non-Vraxian life forms aboard. Energy weapons charged, deploying now. Olivia announced, unable to wait for optimal positioning. She activated the release sequence. The modified terraforming device ejected from their ship, a small capsule containing technology designed to reshape worlds. Now programmed to unmake one, it descended toward the planet's surface. The patrol vessels ignored it, focusing their attention on the stolen transport ship. Multiple impacts shook their vessel, shields failing completely. Catherine fought with the controls, trying to maintain altitude. They needed to activate the quantum drive. They needed to escape. No response from the drive. Vanessa reported, frantically working to restore power. "The return calculations are still processing. We need 3 more minutes." They did not have 3 minutes. The patrol vessels closed in, weapons firing continuously. The stolen ship shuddered under repeated impacts, Systems failed across all decks. Then something unexpected happened. The terraforming device reached the planet, surface and activated. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. The Vraxian world began to change at the molecular level. Buildings began to dissolve as their fundamental elements destabilized. The process spread rapidly across the surface. A cascading reaction that could not be stopped. The patrol vessels broke off their attack, suddenly returning to the planet's surface. Installations sent distress signals. The entire Vraxian civilization mobilized, responding to an unprecedented threat to their homeworld. Catherine used the distraction to put distance between their damaged ship and the planet. The quantum drive still struggled to initialize. The return coordinates remained incomplete. Then a new development. The quantum tunnels connecting the Vraxian homeworld to their invasion fleet activated. Massive ships began appearing in orbit. Ships recalled from Earth to defend their home. The Vraxians would sacrifice their invasion rather than lose their planet. In the command center on Earth, Samantha and Allison watched in amazement as alien ships abandoned their positions. Massive vessels rising into the atmosphere, retreating from battles they had been winning moments before. The Vraxian Supreme Commander boarded his flagship, leaving his sterilization protocol unexecuted. Across the planet, the remaining human forces rallied, pressing their advantage. As the invaders withdrew in disarray, the tide had turned, though no one yet knew why. On the stolen transport ship, Vanessa finally restored partial power to the quantum drive. The return coordinates locked, return jump possible but at reduced efficiency. "We may not reach Earth precisely," she warned. "The damage is severe." Catherine nodded grimly. "Better than staying here," she said, looking at the chaos unfolding around them. The Vraxian homeworld continued to dissolve, structures collapsing as their molecular bonds failed. The terraforming device worked exactly as designed, unmaking the alien world at its most fundamental level. "Emergency. Jump now," Catherine ordered. The quantum drive activated, straining against damage. Reality distorted again. The stolen ship vanished from Vraxian space just as the first major planetary structures began to collapse. The return journey proved even more violent than the first jump. The damaged drive struggled to maintain the quantum tunnel. Alarms indicated catastrophic system failures throughout the ship. Then suddenly they emerged back in real space. Catherine checked their position. Not Earth orbit, but close within the solar system. Their damaged ship tumbled out of control engines, dead navigation non-existent. They were falling toward Earth. Atmosphere entry imminent. Without functioning shields, they would burn up. No way to control their descent. No way to survive impact. Catherine looked at her companions. "We did it," she said simply. "We saved Earth." The ship entered atmosphere exterior, hull heating rapidly. Metal groaned under pressure. The remains of the quantum drive exploded, taking a large section of the vessel with it. Against all odds, the forward section containing the bridge remained partially intact. It fell like a meteor, trailing fire across the sky on the ground. Samantha Wright watched the streaking light cross the night sky. It looked like a falling star, but somehow she knew what it was. The stolen ship returning. The friends who had sacrificed everything to save humanity. She organized search parties immediately. The object had fallen somewhere in the Montana wilderness, near where the first alien scout ship had crashed nearly a year ago. The journey had come full circle. They found the wreckage at dawn. The forward section of the Vraxian transport ship had survived impact barely. Inside, they discovered Catherine, Olivia, and Vanessa injured but alive. The ship's automated systems had deployed emergency measures in the final moments, just enough to preserve the command center as the survivors were evacuated to a resistance medical facility. Samantha received reports from around the world. The Vraxian invasion had collapsed completely. Their ships either abandoned Earth or simply stopped functioning. Many alien soldiers collapsed where they stood as if some essential connection had been severed. Vanessa explained it once she regained consciousness. The quantum entanglement worked both ways. She told them. The destruction of their homeworld created a cascade failure in all their technology. Everything connected through the quantum network. Everything, dependent on the same fundamental frequencies. 3 years passed. Earth began to heal. The knowledge gained from Vraxian technology accelerated human development by centuries. New defense systems surrounded the planet designed by Olivia and Vanessa, a coalition of nations formed dedicated to protecting Earth from future threats. Catherine led this new defense force training pilots to operate ships built using adapted alien technology. Samantha directed environmental restoration projects repairing damage done during the occupation. At a ceremony commemorating the victory, Olivia presented their findings about the wider galaxy. The defeat of the Vraxians had sent shockwaves through space. Other civilizations previously terrorized by the resource. Harvesters now reached out cautiously to Earth diplomatic communications, tentative alliances, offers of knowledge exchange. Humanity had earned an unexpected reputation, the species that not only survived a Vraxian invasion, but eliminated the threat entirely. Other races approached Earth with new respect, some with fear. Earth became known as the planet that should never be threatened. Catherine stood before the United Nations on the 3rd anniversary of victory. The chamber filled with representatives from around the world and beyond. Several alien ambassadors attended, carefully observing this dangerous species called human. They came to erase us from existence, Catherine told the assembly. Instead, we have written humanity's name among the stars. Their homeworld is gone, but our world remains, and we will never be seen as prey again. The applause echoed around the chamber, human and alien alike acknowledging a simple truth. The universe had changed. The predators had become the prey, and humanity had emerged from its trial by fire not just as survivors, but as a power to be respected throughout the stars.